Okay, I want you to imagine something. You're trying to fall asleep tonight. Everything's quiet. But then the sound starts.
Hmm.
It's not loud, not exactly. It's this low, constant drone, like a big diesel engine is idling just down the street.
But it never stops.
It never stops. So you check outside, nothing. You ask your partner, do you hear that? And they just look at you like you're crazy. They say, I don't hear anything at all.
And that experience, that invisible torment is what we're talking about today.
Exactly. This is our deep dive into the global phenomenon known simply as the hum. Our mission here is to unpack what this sound is, why so few people can hear it, and the very real human cost of hearing the unhearable.
Right, and what's so fascinating is that this isn't just about noise pollution. This really pushes us to the absolute limits of human perception. We're exploring a sound that, for the listener, is undeniable.
Completely real.
But for, what, 96, 98% of the world, it might as well not even exist.
Real. It's incredible. So let's jump right in. Section 1. Defining this exclusive sound, because it really is an exclusive club and not one you want to be a member of.
The statistics are, they're almost unbelievable when you first hear them. The data from all these different studies in different places, it all points to the same thing.
Which is?
Only 2 to 4% of the population in these affected areas can actually hear the hum.
2 to 4%, that's tiny.
It's incredibly small. I mean, think about that. If you're standing in a group of 25 people and one of them is a hearer, the other 24 hear absolute silence. It's this profound kind of biological separation.
So for that tiny percentage, what are they actually hearing? Because if our best scientific instruments struggle to pick it up, their own descriptions are basically all the data we have.
And those descriptions are remarkably consistent, which is what gives them so much weight. It's almost always a low, continuous rumble.
Like that diesel engine.
Exactly. The remote diesel engine is the #1 comparison. Or a continuous buzzing, an uninterrupted drone. Like a distant factory that never ever shuts down. It's this deep, constant vibration.
I find the timing of it all so interesting. It's not just that it's there, but when it's most noticeable.
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge clue. It's almost always reported as being more intense at night.
And in calm weather.
Precisely. And what that suggests is that the hum is probably always there. But during the day, the background noise of life,
Cars, people talking, wind.
right, all that ambient sound is just enough to mask it, even for the people who are sensitive to it. But then at night, when all of that fades away,
It just emerges from the silence.
and that's when it becomes torture. When you're most vulnerable trying to rest and this thing just won't let you.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 2. This is the paradox of detection. If it's loud enough to keep people awake, why can't we just point a really good microphone at it, record it, and trace it back to the source?
Well, that's where the physics gets really, really tricky. The reason it's so hard to record is all about frequency.
Low frequency.
Very low frequency. We're often talking about acoustic energy that's below 20 hertz. And 20 hertz is generally considered the absolute bottom threshold of normal human hearing. Scientists call this infrasound.
So, we're talking about sound waves that are so long, so low, they're more like a pressure wave in the air than a tone you'd actually hear.
You got it. It's vibrating air.
Yeah.
And our standard microphones, even really good ones, they're designed to pick up sounds in the human range, say 20 to 20,000 hertz. They just aren't optimized for this ultra-low stuff.
So they might pick up something, but they can't really distinguish it from, I don't know, a truck driving by a mile away or just background vibration.
Exactly. They might register the energy, but they can't isolate the hum as a distinct, traceable audio source.
But hold on, this is what I don't get. If it's infrasound, too low for us to hear, why are people describing it as a diesel engine? That's a very audible, very annoying noise. How does that work?
That is the absolute core of the mystery. And it's neurological. The input might be infrasound, a physical vibration, but the brain, it translates it into something else.
So you don't hear it with your ears, you hear it with your body.
You're basically hearing it with your whole body.
Yeah.
The perception shifts from a purely auditory thing to a physical sensation. People report feeling a pressure on their head, a deep internal buzzing that seems to be coming from inside their own skull.
Oh.
Our inner ears are incredibly sensitive to pressure. So when they're hit with this sustained low-frequency energy, the body just registers it as pressure, a throbbing, and the brain's best guess for what that sensation is, a low droning noise.
So the body's the receiver, the pressure wave hits you, and your brain goes, okay, the closest thing I have to explain this feeling is the sound of a truck idling. It's a constant physical presence.
It is precisely that. And that's what makes it so hard to dismiss as being all in their head.
Mhm.
The discomfort is real because the physical stimulus, the energy, is also very real.
Okay, let's transition then. Because if the stimulus is real, if people are feeling it in specific places, surely someone's figured out the culprit. Let's get into section 3, the hunt for a cause.
You would think so, but unfortunately not. Despite decades of investigation, we have no single 100% proven explanation.
So no smoking done.
Not at all. We have to start by acknowledging that the hum is probably an umbrella term. What people hear in Bristol, UK, might have a totally different source from what they hear in Taos, New Mexico.
Right, so let's run through the leading theories. The most obvious one has to be industry.
That's the first place everyone looks. We are surrounded by things that generate low-frequency energy. Giant factories, power stations, gas pipelines, big ventilation systems.
Here's that rumble.
Things that rumble, yeah. And that energy could travel for miles through the ground and air. In places like Windsor, Canada, which is right across from industrial Detroit, that's the primary suspect.
But if it's a factory, why doesn't everyone hear it? Why isn't it just louder the closer you get?
That's the counter-argument. The theory goes that only the biologically sensitive people pick up on it, and often at a distance after all the higher frequency sounds have faded away. But then you have a place like Taos.
A small town in the desert.
Exactly. Not a lot of heavy industry to blame out there.
Yeah.
So that theory falls short.
So then you have to start looking at natural causes.
Right. And this is where the scale just gets massive. The second big theory is that it's coming from the ocean.
The ocean, how?
The ocean is a gigantic engine for infrasound. You have huge waves interacting with the sea floor, storms, powerful currents. They all create enormous pressure waves that can travel for thousands of miles through the Earth and the atmosphere.
Okay, that's compelling. But then again, why would it only be heard in specific cities? If the ocean is making the sound, why isn't everyone on the coast hearing it?
And that's the problem. It could also be tectonic plates, tiny microseismic movements that are too small to be an earthquake, but they create a constant low-level vibration. But again, why just Taos? Why just Bristol?
It doesn't explain the localization.
Not perfectly, no. Which is why none of these theories are conclusive. They might explain one case, but not all of them.
And this brings us to the more speculative stuff, the electromagnetic source.
Yes. The fourth hypothesis. This one involves extremely low frequency signals, or ELF signals. These are electromagnetic waves, not sound waves, with incredibly long wavelengths.
And where do they come from?
Well, sometimes they're natural, but they're also used by the military for things like communicating with submarines deep underwater, because these waves can penetrate just about anything.
So the theory isn't that people are hearing radio waves.
No, no. The idea is that this electromagnetic energy could be interacting with something in the local environment like metal pipes or even certain rock formations and causing them to physically vibrate. That vibration then creates the acoustic energy, the sound that people hear.
So it's an indirect source. Electromagnetic energy becomes mechanical vibration.
Precisely. And the fact that we have all these competing theories, industrial, oceanic, geological, electromagnetic, it just proves how ambiguous the source really is.
Let's talk about where it's happening then. Section 4. We've mentioned a few of these geographical hotspots.
Right. It's not happening everywhere. It seems to pop up in these very specific pockets around the world. The Taos hum is probably the most famous.
That one got a lot of media attention.
It did. But you also have Windsor in Canada, Bristol in the UK, and even Logan, New Zealand. Each one has its own local identity, its own local mystery.
And while the science is fascinating, we have to talk about the human cost. This isn't just a curiosity. For the people living with this for years, it's a chronic health problem.
It's absolutely devastating to be suffering from chronic headaches, severe sleep disorders, constant fatigue, high levels of anxiety, and to have it all caused by something that your doctor, your family, your entire community thinks you might be imagining.
The isolation must be terrible.
It's immense. The physical symptoms are bad enough, but the psychological toll of being told it's not real, of not being believed, is just crushing. I mean, you can imagine the cycle. You know it's real. It's keeping you from sleeping. But when you go for help, you're told to try meditation, or you're offered antidepressants.
And the sleep deprivation is probably the most destructive part. Night after night, year after year, with this constant drone, people's lives fall apart. We've seen reports of people moving hundreds, even thousands of miles just to find a place where they can have silence. They're like refugees fleeing from a sound that technically doesn't exist for most people.
That really puts it all into perspective. The hum is city-specific, it's person-specific, but the suffering is universal. and it is undeniably real.
The facts are what we have to hold on to. The effect is real, it affects a tiny fraction of people, and it seems to be linked to very specific geographical locations. The mystery really just confirms that our environment is full of powerful forces that most of us are completely deaf to. So, wrapping this deep dive up, that's the thing that stands out most, the sheer exclusivity of it. A sound so real it causes physical illness, yet it's completely untraceable for most people and most machines. It's just a stark reminder of how different our biological experiences of the world can be.
And if we pull back from the hum for a final thought, it raises a really important question for you to think about. We know the hum is defined by low frequency. So what other constant low-frequency stimuli are out there in our cities right now?
From power grids, subways.
Exactly. From all our infrastructure. What other forces are out there that are actively and negatively affecting a small percentage of the population, even while the rest of us are completely blissfully unaware that they even exist? What unseen burdens are our cities placing on their most sensitive residents? It's really something to consider the next time you think you're sitting in total silence.